Hi there. Hello, Creative Chameleon. Hello, Crosshair. I found the music a little loud in my ears. Hopefully it faded nicely for you folks. How is everyone doing on this fine Thursday? I'm maybe a little nervous. I'm pretty sure this is the first time I've ever been in the, doctor's seat for an RPG clinic. Yes, this is an HDMI cable. Too loud for pre-show music. That's good to know. Thank you. Helping folks get jobs. That's pretty damn cool. Very exciting. So, what are we here today to discuss? Well, actually, one of the things I do want to call up is the beautiful graphics we've got going on. Our emotes aren't yet available because Twitch is processing and working on improving them. But actually, I do see that Creati has a nice little die next to their username. Imagine that. Ooh, we need to update our little emote for our EXP points, but thank you. I have hydration. Thank you. Because we were very lucky to catch an excellent graphic designer just as she was between projects. There were several artists that we were looking at. She was amazing. We didn't think we could afford her or catch her when she wasn't occupied. So that's her website, and there's her Instagram. And we will be plugging her more on other website plus Insta. We'll be plugging her more on other mediums soon, but that's that for now. She's super cool. She's super amazing. These assets, they're all thanks to her. Yeah, I think that's it for the general introductory stuff. I'm gonna start getting down to business with level 1, tips and tricks for streaming tabletop RPGs, how to cover the basics, and then how to level up your game. A lot of folks out there are streaming these days. Of course, it's something we do. Since more and more people are in a situation where they are playing remotely due to social isolation, there are definitely the thoughts of, well, if we're already all at computers anyway, why not stream it? The thing is, there are a few basics in order to make sure that viewers actually can follow the game. But the very most important thing before social isolation. What? Physical distancing, social distancing, physical isolation. My words, thank you. Thank you for calling me on that. But yeah, the most important thing before everything and anything, regardless of whether or not you're streaming, but especially if you're streaming, because you will be an example, is, let's get these in order, safety tools. I can't use a green screen, it just makes holes in my face. So these are tools that we've been using in our games. Red card, yellow card, green card, that we use as a way to check in if something is up, or to clarify if something is totally fine, even if it doesn't look that way. Green card means everything is fine, even if I don't look that way outwardly. If I'm crying or angry or say that I hate something, this means I'm good. I approve. Green light, let's keep going. Yellow means heads up, I need to inform the table of something, but we should be good to continue once I've flagged. Don't describe spiders in details, please. Red means, thank you Pook for the sub. Red means stop, we need to check in, and we will not continue game until I have said that it's okay to continue. These tools are not here to stop fun, they're in fact to allow fun. It allows you to, assuming you've pre-established your lines and fails with your group, it also allows you to possibly, you know, push a little further down some subject matters. Like, you know, you can get a little scary with an encounter, possibly if people are open to that, because you know that you have those things around. The same way that you'll, you know, light candles in your house because you know you have a fire extinguisher. And yes, we're lucky enough to have moderators in chat that are effing amazing. I will sing their praises as we go along. But, you know, when you first start streaming, you may not have anyone around to moderate and to be that tool. So having those safety tools for you and your players and showing them and being open about them is a way to be a responsible gaming group. It's a way to not push past someone's boundary, laugh about it, and completely subvert all ideas of safety. Don't do that. Hello, folks. Now that I've finished my safety tool rant, secrets revealed. Hi, welcome. Thank you, Poop, for the sub, right? Yeah. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for the subscription, Pook. I see several subscription badges in chat. I'm afraid that you currently are without emotes, but that's because our brand new custom commissioned emotes are being approved by Twitch. We hope that Twitch will get around to approving them in time for Sunday's game. Yeah, and that's a rule that we have at our table, is that the only card that you can flash in any context of a joke is the green card. If a yellow or red card goes up, we take it seriously, and we would like for chat to do the same, because, you know, it's I guess somewhat akin, but a little less dramatic, but still, we want to treat it like treating, you know, a gun is always loaded. A red card always means stop. Like a red light, you're supposed to always stop at a red light. It's safe, right? It's about safety. But yeah, don't drop praises down a chimney. Oh, an ooh hazard. Well then. I'm gonna pop this on up. So this is what I'm going to be talking about for the beginning of our stream, but please feel free to hop in with questions, comments, etc. So level 1, you've decided to stream your tabletop RPG. If you want to stream your LARP, that's a whole other conversation. Good luck. Send me a message. I'd love to chat, but right now this is about tabletop RPG. So I've covered safety tools. You should use them for yourself, for each other, and especially for your viewers. Be an example. But, you know, you're just starting out. What do you need to do so that other people can follow along? Because you and your friends always enjoy your games. Other people might. Unfortunately, if it's just a Roll20 screen and nothing is moving and nothing is happening, and there's just a bunch of different voices and no indication of who's who, people are going to arrive, maybe sit there for 5 minutes trying to figure out what's going on, and probably leave. If you have cameras, if everyone has a camera, and that's probably becoming more and more likely due to everyone working from home, fantastic. But even if you don't have a camera and you're starting out, there are tools, and one of the best ones I would say is the Discord overlay, which I'm gonna pop on up. Boom. As you can see, it's lighting up when I'm talking, and then it's not when I'm not. It's free. You just have to have Discord. You have to be in the chosen Discord channel. I'm going to drop the link into chat. It's streamkit.discord.com/overlay, but I'm sure if you just like Google, I think I found it by being like streamkit or Discord overlay. So that's that. And something I've done, which is my step 2, is who is who. Character name, player name. So that's something that you can change within your Discord channel, in each individual Discord group channel, like RPGClinic. These are context clues that are important. Yes, pronouns. I just didn't want to take up the entire screen. Pronouns are also important and inclusive. I can fix that. I think it's just gonna clip off the end of my... Change nickname. It's called change nickname. Oh, wrong channel. I have my pronouns on almost every Discord channel. Settings. We're so cisgendered. It's boring. Yeah, it's too long. It's literally too many characters. Sorry, Creaty. For the purposes of this example, I'm being lame and not having pronouns. But there's something you can do if you don't like, because this is going to be a vertical list of person, 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 person. If you want to move them, within OBS, you can manipulate even a part of a picture. How do you do that, you say? You unlock it, you make it movable, you hold Alt, and then you can crop. Rip, rip. You hold Alt, you drag the edge, and you can make a copy of the thing. You can make a copy of the exact same image that you're already using. You paste your copy, rip. You crop your other half of your copy, rip, and then boom. And you can do it a little prettier than I just did, but there you go. Now you can have the name underneath, and then you can drag each person into a different place. That's it. That's all. It's all within OBS, you know, and this is all using one free tool that Discord offers. So that's that for how Discord overlays work. But you can also oh, yeah. Well, that's also a linguistic thing. I don't know how. Hello, Erwin! Alright, both of our mods are here. I'm going to take a moment. She knows 10,000 things. Disciple of Chaos. Disciple of Entropy, sorry. I'm not the one who says this. But yeah, other ways you can do that, of course, is to create nameplates, possibly in your overlay, or again, you can do this in OBS, where this is just straight up a, again, it's just a text layer that you can put underneath your people. You create a background for the text, and boom, people come in, they know who's who. You know, when they're like, yo, Patricia, people know who's being talked about. And if people are like, hey, Kate, can I ask you a question? Viewers also know what's going on. So all of this is a way to cue your viewers what's going on when they show up, and part of that is also in your overlay. What do you have on screen? If you're using Roll20, maybe put in a little bit of extra effort to make sure that people's user icons or your Discord icons are reflective of your character. You can also, if you're into using maps and things, have your maps reflect the theme. But if you're using an actual overlay, make sure that, you know, if you're in medieval fantasy, it draws from those tropes. But, you know, if you're streaming Star Wars, you probably don't want to have, like, wood and swords, because that would make people think you're playing medieval fantasy. So there are ways to cue people into what they're watching when they arrive. All of this is generally available if you're already playing games with people at a distance. If you're all in person, you may need to invest in a microphone like the Yeti, which is able to capture Omni mode. That's how we started. And it's an investment, but if this is something that you want to start streaming and sharing with people, you'd do that and a couple of webcams, which, again, most people now have thanks to working from home. Any questions about level 1? Like this? That is thanks to a tool that I discovered a few months ago that I think is in level 4. Background music and all of our music these days is being provided by Epidemic Sound, which is a subscription-based music licensing. They have thousands of tracks in lots and lots of different musical styles. I just chose stuff that I felt had a chill vibe. And yeah, by paying an annual or monthly license fee, you can register one Twitch channel, one YouTube channel, one this, one that, one the other thing, and they don't even have to all have the same name. And it'll like send a message out to YouTube and Twitch being like, hey, they can use our stuff. Don't take them down, which is really important these days. And yeah, it just means that, you know, at least a few dollars are going to the artists instead of literally nothing if you're using their stuff on your own content. So that's the thing. And it's just a little less nebulous than, oh, my friend said this is fine, my friend said that is fine, but do Twitch and YouTube and every other streaming platform, etc. No? Maybe, maybe not. Sounds like... Yeah, does anyone have any questions about the basics of streaming a game? Une question! Oh, we have une question. Gonna have to print new mugs. Different language? You know, that's definitely something that I could do. You could definitely have a little language tag if that was something that happened often in your games. At the moment, we've kind of established that because Edge of the Empire, if you either can speak the language or can't, or don't understand them, it's entirely based off what's narratively interesting, rather than squabbling over how many experience points. But yeah, there's the Chaliel sign. But yeah, when we're speaking in French, for sure. That's definitely something you could do. It could be a little thing that you could click on for your overlays. Or when we get into the higher tech stuff that's around, pardon me, level 3 or 4, that's where I would start integrating details like that. But that requires more attention to detail than a starting Twitch streamer should probably concern themselves with. The main focus is, can viewers understand what's going on? That's how you start people watching. That's how you hopefully hook them and get them interested so that it's worth your investing your own time and effort into getting to boop-a-boo, level 2. Starting to worry about how to stand out from the crowd. Yeah, remember and forget it. Exactly, Crosshair. So level 2 is once you've started streaming, you figured out how it works, and you at least have had a couple of viewers enough to tell that, okay, what you have put forward thus far can be followed and understood. If you are now in a situation where you are one of the thousands of streamers out there at any one time on these platforms, this is how you start trying to figure out how to stand out beyond just having a great game. Unfortunately, if you have 3 viewers and you look like every other tabletop role-playing game, why is anyone going to click on you instead of the one next to you or next to you? So some of those things is, at this point, you're most likely going to want to invest in having cameras if you haven't already gotten to that point. And you're going to want to make sure that you've got relatively consistent framing. One of the things that you see a lot when you're scrolling through all of the tabletop role-playing streams is that, you know, people are way far away from their camera, they're really close, or they're way down here, they're like, you're looking up their nose. These are things that you can sit down, schedule time with your players or your fellow with your storyteller, depending on who's the one actually running the tech of it. Say, hey, let's schedule half an hour on a day and figure out, okay, how do we make sure that your camera's at a decent angle and that you've got the zoom level right and that, you know, we can make sure that you're at least relatively similarly sized, and then on your overlay itself, you make sure that, let me just unlock this for a second and probably regret it instantly, you know, make sure, yep, instant regret. I called it. You know, oh, everyone needs to be about this size, so you can manipulate the scale of everyone's camera. Such instant regret. This is what I get for talking about streaming tools while I'm streaming. But yeah, it's a way to manipulate so that people are different. And yes, finding a way to indicate who is the storyteller and who is the players is something that you can do visually as well. And also, thanks to that magic of cropping, you don't have to have every different person in a different box. That's really not necessary. You can do what Critical Role is currently doing, which is like slapping everyone next to each other. Now, they have the technology and the money and everything to have everyone green screened. You don't have to go that far, but if you want to slap all your player boxes just next to each other, and then your DM a little separate, that's again a way to visually indicate to brand new viewers, this is the storyteller, these are the players, okay. Now I can see below each person who's who, what's what. Again, these are just like subtle things that you can do to be different from the crowd, because a lot of the crowd right now is doing 5 different frames, and from the thumbnail you can't tell who's who and what's what. Another thing is, I'm going to get back to overlays. Audio quality. This is the time where if you want people to tune in and stick around, make sure that people's microphones are at a relatively even level. This is another thing you can do during your little half-hour check-in. Figure out, you know, how close or farther microphones should be, and who shouts a lot and who doesn't. And if you're remote, that's something you can do on every individual person's like window capture. There are ways of changing the settings in either like your Zoom meeting or your Discord meeting, or in your in your OBS itself. There are lots of plugins for this. If you're all in the same place, and then this is at a time where you would again figure out who needs to sit where relative to the microphones if you have one Yeti, or start getting a mixer where you can control individual levels. Because yeah, as Weirdness says, this is something that has tuned you out, and it's something that I've experienced. Which is getting to the next one, which is the overlay. Right now, we have topic, we have logo and name, we have chat, and then I'm bringing up my points. Simple, straightforward. How do you know what this is about? We have a theme. We have a medical theme, which is indicated by the EKG and the dye, the EKG background, and the lab coat. That's like a few simple, clean visual indicators is all you need. You don't need to have swords and books and dice and like, keep it simple, please. You don't also, it's something that we've pulled away from is that in Changeling we got to the point where it was like, Patches, Unseelie Knocker, Steward of the Spark, Kate, @Zen Robo, blah, 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 blah. So it was just becoming this like wall of text under each of our names. Visual clutter, get rid of it, ditch it, because with the next step, you can have a chat bot to tell people what your Twitter handle is. You really want to keep clean. You want to have empty space so that people's eyes are drawn to the cameras, to the people who are acting for you, who are entertaining you. You don't want their eyes to be like, who do I look at, what's going on? Oh god, there's like swords over here, those are pretty, that's some nice sword art. Oh, but there's someone talking over there, like there's too much. Or you hide it in the art, yes, details, details. But this is also another phase where, while you're figuring out your overlay, to, again, layer in themes. Erigwen gave gold as a major theme for our Exalted overlays. She used Celtic knots to surround our camera frames in Changeling to imply where some of the stories and histories that we were drawing upon came from. And for Star Wars, I mean, it's fucking Star Wars. But again, as much as there's a gorgeous video overlay that I'm so excited for people to see next week, because it was really slapdashed in there and totally broke everything because we were rushing. My fault. Super, super sweet, but again, it's like blue with like some little, like, very minimal yet super slick. Don't need to have spaceships and like pictures of Jawas or anything to tell you that it's Star Wars. We're good. General question. Hi, Real Brick Wall. I believe in tiers, and if you're just starting out, to some extent it depends how many people, but it's a question of also what you're willing to invest. Because if you're just starting out, you just want to see how it goes, don't drop, $1,000 on getting everyone a microphone and getting yourself a mixer, unless you have an angel investor, which we were very lucky to get. I, at this point, need to shout out Captain Daff, who helped us get started with a ton of our tech and helped us upgrade from some shitty old web cameras balanced on some gaming boxes to having table microphones, a mixer, proper cameras, decent lights, tons and tons of equipment. We were extremely lucky to get that investment early on. 99.9% of new streamers are going to have to put it out of their own pocket, or also a factor is start streaming with what you've got, and then over time start upgrading with the bits and the subscriptions, which is what we've been doing ever since. Oh, my music stopped. Oh, right, I was still in my pre-show upbeat. Whoops. Here we go. Now we go into chill. Super chill. Okay. But yeah, Real Brick Wall, I would suggest you figure out what you need in a microphone for other purposes. And I do strongly, if it's just a podcast and you intend to be in person with that other individual, I would probably look into the Yeti. And I think there's one other podcast mic out there that has 2-directional. But the Yeti is a staple. It's been around forever. It's solid. It's heavy as hell, but it is a beast, and it will get you through years. John was still using it to do his video conferences for work. Like, it is very solid, and you can have 2 people or a whole room worth of people. Right now, I am using our Rode Lavalier Goes. Thank you, Erwin. She is a godsend as well, which I will cover now that she's gone, so I can talk about her behind her back. Just to catch up. Yeah, someone asked. I'll be getting into this in a minute, because this is more of investment. These are, I think, like $350 Canadian each for the pack, which does have a microphone built in, and then the lav itself is a bit over 100, plus the headset is a bit of a cost, so. Hydrate or dihydrate, my friends. Absolutely, Creaty. It's really about making sure you have a baseline. If you've got a couple of viewers, you're doing the thing, you want to keep doing it, you want to invest and bring it to the next level, bring everyone up to a microphone, assuming you're remotely, to a microphone that is at least at a base level of quality. There are $50 microphones out there that are perfectly serviceable, but you want to make sure that you do the research and you make the right purchase rather than just being like, oh yeah, my gaming headset, it has a microphone. It sounds like I'm in a paper bag all the time. Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. People are gonna tune out. Like, it's not because your content isn't good, it's because... Sorry. Okay, I apologize. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My apologies. I'm sorry. a little bit too enthusiastic with my demonstration. My apologies. I won't do that again. But yeah, don't do that to your viewers. Make sure that you have a microphone that they can actually, like, microphone levels. I'm so sorry. But yeah. And it's not even about presenting yourself professionally, it's about people being able to stay for 5 minutes, right? If they're constantly playing with the volume levels to hear the quiet person and not be deafened by the loud person, you're in trouble. So that's what it's about. It's about testing that your audio quality is headphone friendly. And then the last point is starting to do chatbot. Which if you haven't already, it will help you out because you can use it for helpful tips and tricks relevant to what's going on in game, and also FAQs. If every time someone comes in, they're like, oh, what system are you playing? What edition of D&D is this? Oh, what specialization of wizard? What spells have they chosen? Like, if these are questions that you're constantly getting, get a bot, program them in. There are tons out there. Critical Role is definitely, Critical Role, sorry, I read it and I said it. Cloudbot, we use OnkBot. It was called OnkBot once upon a time. We use Streamlabs Chatbot. They do have a cloud-based version, which effectively the only relevant difference is that you can't custom name what it says, what it appears as in chat. But there are lots out there. Do your research, see what sounds good to you. The nice thing about those two is that they're also like pretty user-friendly as far as setup, and they have tons and tons of coverage. There are some other more powerful bots out there, but you're basically at a point of programming things, like coding things, rather than just filling in a few entry boxes and pressing save. Yes. Also encourage your viewers to tell you when you have audio issues, because you want to have them stay for your content. You want them to come back. If, you know, people are like, oh, I shouldn't say anything, I don't want to upset them, but I'm gonna go because I can't stand this is hurting my ears, you're gonna lose all your viewers. Yeah, like I know that my audio today is like not very dynamic, it's like pretty tinny. I was using this guy. This guy is unfortunately, I think, done for. But there was a lot going on and I settled with this because it was good enough. Yeah, compressors are definitely a tool to look into. There are even filters within OBS. I'm talking about OBS because it's free, it's ubiquitous, it works on every major operating system. I'm going to stick to talking about OBS because also, again, it's another one that isn't... It's relatively, like, it's gotten better and it's relatively good at, like, laying out, showing you what you're doing, but there's also bucket loads of tutorials and you Google it and you get your answer. And yeah, so there are filters, there are compressors. Compressors are great because it helps bring up the quiet and pull down the top. It will slightly crunch the quality of your audio, which is something that we experience. But when you don't have someone sitting there with headphones on listening and mixing, it's the best way, to make sure that you aren't going to blow out people's eardrums. I don't have one on right now, and that's why I blew out everyone's eardrums. I apologize again. Yeah, exactly. Like it's a huge thing about viewer retention. You could have the world's best story and the world's best players, but if no one can stick around long enough to listen to it, it's not going to happen. Any other questions about that which is on the screen before I move on to level 3? Or about level 1 that I zipped past? Level up! Oh, okay. Whip, whip, whip. Going pro. This I only suggest that you concern yourself with once you either have a solid following, have income coming from that following through affiliate subscriptions, through bits, through donations, through Patreon, whatever you decide works for your format, and or you yourself have decided to invest some money in bringing it up to the next level. And that is something that we have done, in that we have floated some money in advance so that we get the thing, knowing that, okay, we're at a place where we're getting a payout every second month, so, you know, we will be able to afford, like, I'll get the money back next month, I have it in my pocket, I want to buy this thing before it's out of stock, done. But yeah, do not throw all your cash into a stream that isn't paying back. Exactly what Creative Chameleon said. Don't do it. Having HD cameras and professional microphones is not what's going to convince people to come see your game if it hasn't already worked with okay cameras and listenable audio. I'm sorry. Work on marketing yourself, work on your PR, work on your other aspects. Don't sink money expecting to get rich. It's not going to happen. The big money-making tabletop role-playing streams come from people that were already famous before. Critical Role started, A, they're all voice actors. They're successful, excellent voice actors. B, they started on Geek and Sundry, which is really well established as a geek company. Then there are other things. LA by Night, I believe, also started with Geek and Sundry. Penny Arcade has a really successful streams. 99% of those really successful streams started out because they had pre-established audiences. Don't spend thousands when you aren't going to make it back. Unless, again, if this is your favorite thing to do in life, you've decided, I don't spend money on other stuff, I want to spend my disposable income on this, fine. Just don't think you're going to get rich doing it. And rent. But yeah, we started with boxes. We started with boxes, like game board boxes and like shitty webcams and stuff, and it was only because we were at least interesting enough to stick around for that it was worth us continuing. But stepping back to point D of level 2, chatbot with helpful tips, FAQs. Get yourself an Aragorn. Get yourself a moderator that is willing to put commands into chat to help answer questions for chat, because you, as a storyteller, as a player, should be paying attention to the game. If you're not paying attention to the game, if you're constantly distracted by chat, you're not going to be as interesting. People are here to watch a TV show. They are, like, as much as chat interaction is very important, it's also part of streaming, otherwise just stick it on YouTube. You can't just be like, sorry, what are we doing? I was reading chat. Like, no, people are gonna leave. Also, yes, Aragorn is absolutely 1 in a million. She's a godsend. Good luck getting an Aragorn, but maybe if you get, you know, 5 or 10 moderators, they combined can almost reach her level. Because she showed up to one of our very first stream and just started putting tips into chat about Exalted. I don't know what we did to deserve her. And she has continued to be amazing, and she has continued to deliver. She has gone above and beyond every step of the way. She has made our overlays as of halfway through Exalted. She made our overlays for Changeling. She has made amazing overlays for Star Wars Reach. I'm getting used to saying that new game name. And I know that she was helped with some of the video aspects with Traydog, I believe. They're doing a bit of 1-2 hitter on some of that sweet, sweet art. She just fucking does it. We don't ask, it just happens. She's amazing. She shows up to everything. She wants to help us up our game. Like, unheard of. Unfucking heard of. She is amazing. So good luck finding yourself an Aragorn. But my god, if you find one, hold on. Hold on tight. Okay. Anyway, we were talking about being level 3. Yep. Yep. That's another thing. if you've been going at it for a while and you're still kind of idling at a really small viewer pool or no viewers, just stop worrying about it. Stop streaming. Enjoy your game. Don't worry. Because, yeah, streaming you have to be conscious of. You have to be aware of not being a piece of shit. Sorry. That's where safety cards come in, so that hopefully your players can call you, or your storyteller, you know, your fellow people can call you out on being a POS. But yeah, you have to be entertaining. Yeah, I mean, to some extent, you just have to be the right kind of personality types to tell dynamic stories that are worth listening to. Playing certain games is fun. It's super fun. Like, one of the favorite things I did when I was at college was, we called it the Coliseum. Throw together a level 5 character. Here's an encounter. Fight. Straight up. That's a blast to play. It's not necessarily a blast to watch. And that is okay. Not everything has to be streamed, despite what social media is telling us. Please, streaming is a hassle for you. If you're upset that you aren't getting more viewers, don't waste money thinking that's what's going to fix it. Just give yourself a break. Please. Please, please, please. Have fun. And yeah, also make sure that everyone else wants to actually stream. Don't just do it. And don't strong arm people into doing it. Consent? Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I was a little bit, it took some adjustment for me. I'm not an actor. So I definitely would get frustrated trying to either accomplish something that I didn't quite understand the rules for, because I was used to just, you know, having all the time in the world. But dead air is deadly. When you are streaming, when you're video, especially when you're only audio, dead air is deadly. And it doesn't mean just start yammering to fill the air. It means you have to be quick with your content. You have to know how to do your dice rolls. And if the slightly fucky math of D&D slows you down, I don't blame you, because adding a d20 plus 2 minus 1 because of that. Oh, how much is their defense? Okay, yeah, but I have activated this ability. That's all basic arithmetic, but there's enough little moving parts to it that it can slow you down. Use a dice roller. Oh my god, use a dice roller. We are using a dice roller. Yes, okay, dead air for comedic timing is fine, but like dead air because you're trying to figure out, okay, that's a 12, and then I plus 3, and then I minus that, and you're all just like trying to figure out your dice roll. Which is, yeah, why I have pushed us to go with a dice roller for Genesis, because they have, sorry, Edge of the Empire. It's the same dice, but with different symbols. It's just enough that, like, okay, I've got 3 successes. Oh yeah, and a triumph is also a success, or I'm saying this wrong, I'm sure. But there's just enough, like, adding and subtracting of different successes and failures and advantages and drawbacks that it would take too much time to come up with a dice result. I'd rather just press a button and have it happen. I love rolling dice. Oh my god, I miss Exalted rolling 20 dice, but audience, you know, if every time you're in combat, it takes 3 hours for like 5 rounds, again, it's deadly. Yeah, exactly, Pook. Start with what you have. Don't answer phone calls while you're streaming. And, yeah, start with what you have. And focus on making it base level watchable for your viewers. Yeah. But none of that is involved in level 3. Level 3, going pro, is once you have built a following, once there is some amount of money coming in, or you've decided that you love it and you want to spend a significant amount of money on it. HD cameras, this is when you retire or cascade to your meeting friends and family, your, you know, 10-year-old camera. This camera is at least from 2013, if not older. It's the C920. It was when the C920 was new. You also want to have ample lighting. This is a huge thing. If your stream is still grainy, which there is a little bit of grain along the edges with my green screen capture, it's because there isn't enough light. I also think this camera just, there's a flicker on it no matter what. I think it's just old. I think it, you know, it might have been one of the first models. It might not have, you know, had the same quality that all the rest of the models do since. I don't know. But you're looking for, this is fine. You don't need to buy the Lumix G7s if you don't need to, but you need to make sure that your image is at least this crisp. You can't have blurry cameras if you're trying to go pro. You want people to look and say, oh, these people are taking it seriously. These aren't some buddies having a good time that are just like turning on camera, oh yeah, whatever they can watch. It shows that you care about the viewer experience. So that's a big thing, but lighting is also a big way to make sure that your C920, which has been a staple forever, that it actually takes in everything that it's capable of taking in. But now there's like the C923, which is a bit better, or something. I don't know. I'm out of date. I'm getting old. I'm falling behind. Ooh. But also, if you're in a same room setting, which honestly, it's so much better if you can be in the same room. Yeah, right, Crosshair. But that's the thing. If it's already 480p quality and then you downgrade, you ain't seeing nothing. Lighting will push you a lot better. And no, it's not nice to have bright lights facing you. It's tiring, you know. After a stream, I do experience a bit of fatigue from having bright lights on. And that's part of, you know, putting in that effort to go pro. Another thing is upgrading your audio. This is the time where your one Yeti that everyone's using, or everyone's like $50 microphone, this is the time when you start caring about quality audio rather than just sufficient audio. This is when you start figuring out, oh, you know, Kate's always fucking quiet and she never looks towards the microphone in front of her. So how do we fix this? Oh, I know, strap a microphone to her head. Ta-da! I really do. If you're remote, people can get condenser microphones. We have, oh, does it fit? Does it reach? Oh, there you go. Rode NT1. It's a solid microphone. I'm pretty sure it's again, this little guy. I think it's just old and dead. So I might use it next time I stream, but right now I'm not. But this is when you start, you know, again, you don't have to have, like, you don't need to have an SM7B. You don't have to be John. I love him to bits, but you do not need a Shure SM7B in order to be a quality streamer. There are lots of, honestly, top tier streamers out there that are still using Yetis, but you also can go for condensers. Audio-Technica has really, really, really cost-effective options out there. Liz is using one. Again, she's on the same little mixer as me, and I think that's her next upgrade. You don't need an SM7B, okay? Pook, yeah, the AT20 is absolutely a powerhouse, and that's like $120 US and like 200 Canadian or something. Like, it's a chunk of change. You don't buy it before you're going pro or before you yourself have decided you want a quality microphone, but it's still completely serviceable. Yeah, there are some headset mics that are great, but there are a lot that are terrible. So my base rule is don't use a headset mic because it's simpler. But oh, you were still doing voice work remotely, it's true. Okay, well, if you're also a voice actor doing voice demos and self-tapes, then get yourself a Rode SM7B. But then you're gonna have other reasons for having quality microphones. And this is the time where if you haven't already been doing it, think about putting in music. Before you put in music, make sure it's copyright safe, because the last thing you want, yeah. We've had these for a while. This is mirrored and this is old. This is our very old logo. This is another gift from Captain Duff. It's nice to see that he's started appearing in streams again. That's really exciting. Seems like things have turned around for him, which is really good. Merchandise! Yes. I mean, we're like 2 degrees of separation from the boring company. So anyway, copyright safe music. The last thing you want is for people that missed an episode not be able to watch the YouTube video, because you know, apparently artists in Sweden are trying to get proper money for their music. And that has screwed up a whole bunch of stuff that isn't even from Sweden. But people in Sweden can't watch your video. Fuck. So that's why, more than just Googling copyright-free music, you have to put a little bit of effort into making sure that even your super best friend who tells you, oh yeah, use my music, that their record label hasn't been included in YouTube's standard, like, swipe of take it down, demonetize it, etc, etc, etc. Because we don't care about monetizing our YouTube videos. We haven't. I don't know if we ever will, but at this point we don't. Even so, there are some copyright strikes that will still mute or disable our video elsewhere in the world, because it's the whole wide world. There's a lot of countries out there with a lot of rules. Because, like, I could call up my friend from high school who's a musician, high school, university. I don't fucking know what happened there. Anyway, and I'm sure she would say, yes, please, play my music, you know, shout me out if you don't mind. But the thing is, her record label is in the giant robot of YouTube, and my video would get taken down, and then I would contest and have to get an email and have to send it and hope that they make the note and hope that it sticks and hope that when they update their, you know, takedown bot again, it doesn't get pulled. This is why we have gone with Epidemic Sound, because it has a catalog and it gives information directly to Twitch and YouTube. Our catalog is safe for this, you know, these 7,000 people who are paying for our subscription service. Yeah, and it is absolutely to scale. It is absolutely to scale. Oh yeah, like we aren't, look, we've been doing this for 5 years almost now. We aren't paying ourselves. We aren't. It's all going back into the stream. This is why we have a beautiful new logo, beautiful rebranding, soon to be beautiful emotes, sub badges, all this stuff. Oh, fuck right off. Thank you. Thank you. I was like, fuck off. Like, what did I do? Thank you, weirdness. But this is what we do with the money that comes in, is that we invest it back in. We are spending the money that we get, and that's why we've done tiered upgrades. We didn't go from, you know, just a couple of webcams and some table mics to what we have today. Every year or two, when we can afford it, we're like, okay, we have $400. We're gonna get better microphones. Oh, now we have, you know, we did a marathon. Our first thought was we aren't even gonna make 1,000, but we're gonna put it there, you know, just so that there's a goal. We were amazingly lucky. We have an amazing community. We made it to basically 2,000, if not more. I don't actually remember the figure anymore because I'm an asshole. And now we have super professional grade cameras. Hello, Scott. And this is exactly it. This is what we've been doing over the years. You know, we're putting the money back in, but you don't go pro at like month 3. This is where we went a year or two ago, so that was after 3 or 4 years of streaming. You don't spend this money after 6 months. Like, that's not the rate that these things scale. The last thing you do is you pay someone to make your overlays, or if you're super lucky and you have yourself an Aragwin as part of your team, fine, make sure that they make the overlays and take all the tips that we've gone over already. Because, yeah, this is how you start. Again, you're signaling to people that you're taking it seriously. You've got good, clear cameras, you've got good, clear audio, you have good, clear overlays. Simple, clean, designed investments that also is showing that you are returning the investment back to your audience, because they will appreciate it. If all the money they give you just disappears down a hole, and after 5 years and thousands of dollars, you're still using potato cameras, maybe less incentive for them to invest. I don't know. I mean, maybe they just love you and want to throw money at you anyway, but it's definitely a thing. It's definitely a thing to consider. Any questions at this point in the discussion? Anything that we've already covered? Anything in these existing, in these existing levels? Hides the precious. So I would say that we moved to that about a year ago. No, but thank you. Though I'm starting to sound congested. No, I can't see whispers unless I have the bot. No matter what format of chat I have, I can't see whispers unless, like, I literally have a Twitch page open. So that's something, yeah. At the moment, I don't have a solution for seeing whispers without the bot open. Yeah, what is outside? What is that? We're going up to level 4. So as Crosshair said, would a stage manager for your TTRPG show be pro level? No, I would call that level 4. You're going to need a dedicated crew soon. This is more or less where we're at, or where we're pushing towards with our new season structure, with our rebranding, all of these things. This is when it starts to get beyond your control. Beyond your control of what you can do while you're still paying attention to your stream. Because again, in addition to everything else that's going on in your stream, the main focus is the game. If you spend all game trying to remember to press the buttons, which you probably noticed last week because I was freaking out about all the things that were almost kind of working but not quite, you're going to be paying attention to the conversation, you're going to be paying attention to the game. This is the point that you're riding the limit of what you can do on your own without having a dedicated person whose job literally is just to pay attention to the tech, because that's what Critical Role has. That's what Vampire the Masquerade has. That's what I'm sure. I mean, yeah, I'm pretty sure that at least one of Penny Arcade's streams has. Look, if you want to have super badass graphics flying across the stream, you can, but it takes a lot of attention, and it's much better if you can have a dedicated person. But if you have someone who's fun employed, thanks to mass gatherings being mostly banned, and happens to be in a pretty socialist country where you don't have to take whatever job you can find to keep a roof over your head, you can put fistfuls of fistfuls of hours into doing all kinds of tech and prep, because the nice thing about what we have so far is very setup heavy, but designed to be operation light. Some of this we did start to do with Changeling. So we don't have an intro video yet, is something that we've been talking about. We are working on synopses being automated Super cool. You saw a sneak peek of that with Session 0 of Star Wars Reach. Yeah, LA by Night at some point sounded like they were just like pre-recording it and playing videos as a live stream, which I found weird, but yeah. Fistfuls of dice into the computer. Don't do that. I'm gonna blow my nose briefly. Sorry about that. Getting a little phlegmy from all my talking. Oh, BRB very soon on my face. So we have been having synopses basically since we started. Right? Just throw the dice at the computer and they'll roll for you. Thank you. Literally just some text. Yeah, this is just a text layer. You know, whatever fonts you have installed in your computer, you can choose. You can, where did I put this? I definitely was like, oh, you can talk about things. But you can like, oh man, where did I don't know which layer I did it on. But anyway, I'm just gonna stop. But you can have outlines, you can have custom text extents, which is what I'm doing for my info boxes. Where you're like, okay, this is like 250 pixels high and 550 pixels wide. And, you know, it's like centered vertically, justified this way. So that you can put in a bucket load of different text and it's always going to fit in the space that you've given it. Off topic, but on topic. But yeah, you can give colored outlines, you can give backgrounds. That's how I did the nameplate. There's just like an option for a background color. Straight up, super simple. Yeah, choosing the right fonts is super satisfying, and our graphic designer gave us a font very, very close to this, but we wanted one that we could use globally for our alerts and everything, so we switched to a very similar look-alike Google font. That's a tip. When possible, use a Google font, because then you can use it on your website, on your stream alerts, all those things. Yeah, alignment grid. They have like center and horizontal vertical, but that's it. What I've started doing is that if you like right click and go edit transformation, you can put in the exact like pixel position and slide it around pixel by pixel, which is what I've been starting to do. But it's not as nice as just being able to like create a grid like you would in Photoshop. So, level 4, intro videos. You want ways for new people to be onboarded. One of these things that isn't on the list is don't have 130 episode seasons. Don't do it. Just don't. Or if you're going to, if you insist on it, have ways for people to catch up without having to watch 400 hours of content. That's why we've shifted to seasons, because we would rather, you know, people who have to miss a few sessions, you know, not have to slog through all of them if they'd rather just wait for next season and catch up. Or newcomers to, you know, if we renew Star Wars and we do another 20-30 episodes, you know, if they show up at episode 30, what the heck's going on? We're intending to have a season 1 recap video that will tell you everything you need to know to start with season 2. These are things that take a lot of time and effort, and that's why I would put this at the level 4. Bathroom break is water. Hydrate. B. On-screen information about current events. Now, this is a tricky thing because you don't want to be overcrowding your overlay. You don't want to have huge chunks of text for people to try to figure out what's going on. Like, what you don't want visual clutter, but you also want to indicate people what's going on. It can be as simple as current location, the Spark. Okay, they're in a place called the Spark. You can be in chat like, what's the Spark? And then you've got a simple answer rather than being like, what's going on? And it's similar to what we're doing with our new Star Wars overlay, is that it's straight up just last known location. It'll be the Outer Rim, Tatooine, the Cantina, the ship, whatever. Simple, straightforward, but it's just enough to give people current, up-to-date information rather than general, vague, static information. And C is where the fun begins. Visual indicators of health and other resources. We would likely, what words? Stop, think. With Changeling, we started integrating this partway through with our health resources. The way this was done was through Streamlabs chatbot. There's a whole community making scripts to add extra command functions, and there's one called Infinite Counters. If you search in their dev forum in Streamlabs chatbot, not regular Streamlabs, not Streamlabs OBS, Streamlabs chatbot, Infinite Counters, it allows you to add counters for things. It won't show up, unfortunately, on the overlay because it's on the other computer, but and it won't show up here because we don't want to fill up chat with our bot responses. But you know, you type in PH, you get Patches has 4 health. PH plus, Patches has 5 health. PH minus, Patches has 3 health. And what this also does, it outputs to 2 text files. One is the full sentence. Second one is just the number. Packers is not around, right? And so what we did was we took those text files, and OBS lets you target, rather than just the word that you can type in, you can have an option to target a file. You target that file, you change the font, you change the color, you move it around to look nice, and suddenly we had, you know, you have 4 health out of 7 total health, 4 willpower out of 8 total willpower. And this was a way for us to up our stream game, to show to the audience what are our resources at. How dire is the fact that I just took, you know, 1 damage? Am I about to die because I was already nearly at death? Or is it just like, oh, that's her first damage. I mean, it still sucks because she only has 7 total health levels, but okay, she's not dead yet. Oh, but she's almost out of willpower. Okay. It's ways to get your audience more invested in what's going on by telling them visually what is going on right now. Ooh, yeah, exactly, Pook. There are so many cool ways to use text commands. And again, I'm going to continue talking about Streamlabs chatbot, and I believe most of this. I'm not sure about scripts. I haven't tested scripts with Cloudbot, but these are ways of upping your game and making yourself really stand out above the crowd. And if you use, if you have a Stream Deck, it's a way for you to have buttons to press to show things. That's how John would be able to like show the resources and then have them disappear for a while. Because at this point you've got too many moving parts to be clicking around and doing it all yourself. It is a tool, it costs money, it's a physical device, which is why I'm also going to shout out Updeck. I have a link, I copy pasted it. Updeck is free. Updeck works with your phone, Android and iPhone, and also if you have a computer. It's relatively resource intensive, but there are programs like BlueStacks, which are free and allow you to emulate an Android environment. So when we're running Star Wars on our streaming computer, my computer here is running BlueStacks to emulate an Android environment, because that is right now what I'm using to disappear and show my various text boxes and change the content of it. This is all through a free program. A free program! This is a Google Pixel 3a. But yeah. Yeah, and you can use your iPad as well. It just, at the moment, it exists for Android and iOS, is my understanding. But there are ways for you to do it off of your computer. You can also use this device to reshape and appear and disappear objects, which is so effing cool. Yeah, but you don't need BlueStacks on your phone. You just need it on your computer. It's one or the other. Oh shit! What's that? Is that a health bar? Ugh! Ow! Oh! Oh god! Oh no! My carriage is getting hit! I'm almost dead! Oh! Oh! Oh no! Please give me a healing potion! Okay. Gonna get another healing potion. Ta-da! Ta-da! Off my phone! Right? I mean, it can get more complicated. I just slapped this together like 20 minutes before stream. But yeah, that's Updeck. Okay, so what I will say about Updeck, it is amazing. It is powerful, but it is not extremely user-friendly. It is done by entering their custom type of code. It's not like you don't have to know coding, really. You just have to understand that coding involves syntax and that you have to put like description line, command type, and then certain parameters. So that's how it works, basically. So it's really amazing. It's also, unfortunately, go creaty, get some wait, but it's like, it's early in your time zone. Don't get some sleep, but hydrate and go to bed at a real time. People are in different time zones. But yeah, Updeck, super powerful. It has a Discord community with a few people that are like gonna respond within a day to your support questions. It has so-called documentation that explains how to do most things, but unfortunately it's a little bit ooh, exciting. It's a little bit harder to follow. It's not super what you see is what you get, unlike a Stream Deck. So if the idea of having to like figure out a bit of syntax and code is too much for you, stick with a Stream Deck. It will do you good. But if you want super powerful stuff, do the Updeck. Go for it. There's so much power. Any questions about level 4? Hides. Pook, why are you hiding? Why are you hiding? If you have questions, I may have answers. Level 5 is scary. There is a level 5. It's, well, this is your job now. If you're at a point where either through sponsorship, through your fame, through your parent company, or through breakout success, you're making enough money to make this your full-time job, or to pay someone to make it their full-time job, these are the things that you can do. These are the things that you do to put yourself up at the level of the top tier professional grade. This is their job now. Streams. I don't think we're ever getting here. I don't. And I'm fine if we never get here. Honestly, level 4 is kind of insane. But I'm templating. I'm templating everything with the time that I have now so that hopefully we can at least maintain level 4. Yeah, rob a bank, win the lottery, break out through magic, you know, make sure that, you know, Liz or Scott or John becomes famous so that, you know, we draw on a bunch of free viewers. Yeah, but this is your job now. It literally means that you or someone else is spending 40 hours a week, if not several people. For all these streams for all these tiers beforehand, if you treat it like a job as far as prioritizing keeping to a schedule, it will help you grow. Because if people know, okay, every Sunday, 6 p.m., I'm watching Changeling, it's easier for them to show up than being like, oh yeah, like every second or sometimes third week, and then they'll skip a week, and then I don't know, oh hey, look at this other stream that I watch on Sunday nights instead. They're there every Sunday. I forgot about the other people. So scheduling's important. But at level 5, you've gone beyond professional. You're literally getting like thousands a month, multiple thousands a month, or you're independently wealthy, or you have other subsidies. Yeah, what Pook said. Every time you tune in and you don't notice the fact that the audio isn't bothering you, that the video is clear, that the game is smooth, that everything is easy to understand, someone has done work. This is my job as a stage manager. If everyone forgets that I exist, I have done my job well. Sound happened at the perfect volume at the perfect time. The lights changed in a way that you didn't even notice they changed. You know, curtain goes down, curtain comes up, the whole world has changed. It's magic. You don't think, oh yeah, clearly, you know, there was a dude over there. I can see him flicking the switch. Like, nah, you want it to be magic. Yeah, so this is really like, I don't think anyone out here watching this probably needs to know this, but somehow if you're out there and you're, you know, someone just gave you bucket loads of money, they're like, make a stream, make a tabletop role-playing stream that's really good and high quality. Buh, money. This is what you do. Everything that I've listed from level 1 through 4. And then on top of all of this, you want to treat this like TV. You start at a very specific time. You have a theme song, either before you start or after a scripted introduction. Hi, welcome to RPGClinic, where we are leveling up our games and yours. Ding! We have safety cards. This is a very carefully, quickly scripted thing. Meet our players, Fina, Melba, Rigel, except those aren't our players, those are our characters. See? This isn't a scripted introduction. Boom. Possibly pre-recorded, possibly done live, I don't know. But you gotta keep it swift, you gotta keep it professional. People are coming to what could be on television, except it's better because you can interact. You can interact. And that's fucking hard to do when you have that many viewers. It's really hard. But there are still ways of being aware of a live audience that you have to do differently if you care about staying on a streamed medium. Other things. Official art for all your PCs and major NPCs. If next to your little character you can have little drawings, you know, next to your nameplate, that helps people, especially if you're in a world with aliens, with orcs and goblins and all these different people that don't look at all like your players. But even, you know, if I decide to play a male character, it's easier for people to visually clue in, oh, she's playing a dude with blue skin. Okay, I gotcha. Again, pronouns, but also visual indicators. Visual indicators. Pronouns. But yeah, and this is also a maintained, we have a website and a wiki, but it's not that, we're working on it. We do our best to maintain it, but it's not maintained at a level that I would call professional. Hydrate or dihydrate. Thanks, Crosshair. Yeah, there are ways to work in interaction, but there are definitely, if you're gonna bother doing it live, because it's fucking hard to do things live compared to pre-recording, if you're gonna bother doing it live, make sure that there is a reason for it to be live, rather than just pre-recording it, editing out on mistakes, leveling the audio. Like, it takes so much more human power and attention to have it finely tuned while it's live than while it's pre-recorded. Right? Hydrate! But yeah, going back to this, having a maintained website or wiki for all your NPCs, all your locations, or for, you know, possibly on-screen things like we're trying out. It's ways, again, onboarding new viewers. You, like, stagnating. I mean, I guess if you're at this tier, you don't need to care about stagnating, but still, you will eventually stagnate if you make it impossible for a new person to come in and figure out what's going on. You want someone to be like, hey, best friend, I love this thing and I want you to love it too. Watch it. You want them to be able to be like, who's this sister? And they can look it up and the information is there. And another thing that I only put in this tier because it takes hours of work is captions and other accessibility tools. There are some things that can be done in other tiers, but the current level of auto captions that are free and YouTube's auto captions are not designed for a bunch of different people talking, so it doesn't create line breaks for new speakers, it doesn't indicate who the new speaker is, and also, you know, you're talking about orcs and goblins it might get, and it might even be able to figure out Twi'lek, but it's not going to figure out your character name. It's going to call Erigwen arrogant. Like, it's, I straight up, I tried. I took the auto-generated captions for our 10 Candles game. I sat down and I started doing like find and replace things and going over it, and it became a point where I was over 3 hours in and hadn't even covered an hour of game. This is the kind of thing that, unless this is your full-time job, you yourself can't do it. Yeah, if your chat is that fast, it's bad, and I have always found Critical Role chat a bit toxic because it's always telling people that they're rolling wrong. That's not my cup of tea. Also, yeah, curate your audience, starting early. Curate your goddamn audience. Someone's being an asshole, kick them out. Sorry, not sorry. Also, again, get yourself amazing mods. Unfortunately, that's luck. But if you try to give people the benefit of the doubt, unfortunately, oh, John, you can stay. Unfortunately, one bad apple spoils the bunch. If people are, you know, if everyone, you know, if you have one person in chat that's always saying, you didn't use this rule wrong, you didn't use this rule correctly, then a second person that likes to talk about that will come in. And you'll have 2 of them. Then you'll have 4 of them, and your whole chat will be full of people that are rules lawyering you while you're just trying to play a goddamn game and tell a story. Curate your audience. Also, again, early on, start, you know, being like, hey, thanks. We're gonna look into it after game, but ultimately our house rule is that if we realize we've done something wrong, we're gonna, unless we can immediately correct it, we're just gonna take a note and do better in the future. Also, yeah, be straightforward. Also, interact with your chat. Tell them why you're doing things or why you aren't doing things. Don't just ignore them and be like, bah, house rules, bah. Like, you can, but the clearer you are with them about your choices, the more they're going to be on board with you. So folks, any questions, comments, concerns about streaming tabletop role-playing games? Any things you want to hear more about? You're allowed in because you're always here. Yeah, right? I've already sung everyone's praises, but I want to sing them again because, I don't know, she's super duper outstanding. Well, that's very, very much appreciated, Creaty. We're also shitty people to buy food for because we have a lot of dietary restrictions these days. So, yeah, we've been super lucky with our community, but I have to say that a large part of that is due to curating the community. We put forward certain vibes, the way we respond to chat, the way we interact with chat. It sets a certain tone, and through having amazing mods that we're able to communicate with and sort of talk about, like, hey, how do we encourage this or discourage that? Things like creating the play of the game as a thing that the audience can interact with. There are so many ways that you can subtly and gently reward good behavior and discourage bad behavior. Yeah, it's a huge thing. And another factor in that is having things like a bot that is running with commands. Having a certain amount of auto mod enabled may be useful. You don't want to swat out every time someone says ass if you're fine with, if you aren't trying to be super family friendly. But you do want to not have hate speech even appear for 2 seconds in your chat, if at all possible. So there are levels of auto mod to tweak. You can also put in your own custom banned words through the bots and possibly through Twitch, but definitely through your bot. You can have a bot that will have timers and remind people to check out your website, which, again, people watching the YouTube video won't understand what's going on because we've suppressed. That's another thing. This is through Streamlabs, this chat capture. You can have it ignore anything that starts with an exclamation mark, because that's usually a command, and you can have it mute certain channels. So in our example, in this case, our bot isn't going to show up in this chat. Which is super cool. Yes. Also, yes, YouTube. Look, I know I'm talking about streaming, but having a YouTube archive is super important. Record locally if at all possible, or export to YouTube off of Twitch, if at all, if you just don't have a computer powerful enough. But, oh man. Those were the days. Those were the days. But yeah, that's the thing. A big factor is onboarding new viewers. That's the big lesson. Think about how a new person can understand what's going on and the context of everything. And that is having a YouTube archive so that people who do show up at episode 20 can go back and watch the other episodes if they want to. I mean, yes, it's also about having fun. But yeah, that's step 1. That is step 1. Make sure you're enjoying it. Because even if level 5 is this is your job now, if you hate it and you resent it, you aren't going to be entertaining for other people. You are an entertainer. As soon as you turn on that camera, or connected your microphone and put it out for the world to see, you have to be conscious of the fact that you have an audience. What do they want to see? What don't they want to see? Some people manage to make, salt and rage either faked or legitimate entertaining. But if you're just mad, if you're just pissed off, that's not fun to watch. It's not. So it's about figuring out how to calm yourself down, or knowing when it's time to disconnect and say, hey folks, sorry about that, gotta cut streams short, catch you next week, ding! Yeah, it's about figuring out how to connect with people, and another thing is, if you're playing a lesser known game, if you aren't playing D&D 5th Ed, then chances are you should also be willing to talk about the game mechanics to people, so that when you're talking about charms and glamour, people aren't just sitting there kinda starting to maybe get it after 3 episodes. You want to help onboard people. I don't know if any of these exist, but like, this will show up in chat. You won't see it on overlay, but we have, chat commands, !advantage, our bot responds. One of the 3 positive dice results, advantage gives a positive benefit even if the roll failed. Cancelled by threat. Simple, straightforward. But if someone, mechanics explanations are absolutely hard. Again, this is the thing that takes time investment. But it's part of, if you want to bring your stream to the next level, it's worth the time investment. And it's something you can build up over time, and hopefully that you at least have one moderator who's willing to contribute towards. Because that's what was so fantastic about Aragwen, was that she was typing these things up on her own and like pasting them into chat. And I've seen it everywhere, though. There are a lot of people out there like that. New streamers, there's someone that's like, yeah, I want to copy paste this. You don't have a bot yet? That's okay. I'm going to tell people like, oh, you stream every Wednesday and you're a musician and, you know, oh, everyone's always asking about your hair. Here's the thing about her hair that she answered, and she's tired of saying it every 5 minutes. I don't know, John. I feel like some days the exact same lighting, the exact same room, the exact same green screen, it works good. And other days I can't get it to stop being grainy and blown out or too dark or whatever. Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, because you don't want your moderator to have to type it out every single time, and you don't want to ask them to have everything copy pasted. Even if you have people like Crosshair, we're going to keep a timeline of your game, because I have to assume it's his idea of fun. And then if people are like, oh man, how long has it been since that battle? And he's like, that was only 2 days ago, even though it's been like 12 streams. It's nice if you can, if it's an interest to parties involved, put that into your bot command. Bots are free. They're pretty easy to set up. That's another thing. Make this, as I said, make this a job as far as the time you dedicate to it. Stick to a schedule. Give yourself time before stream. Don't show up at 5 minutes before you go live and slap it on if you're interested in bringing it to the next level. Give yourself an hour or two before game and time after game so that you can... I'm stuffed up again. Sorry, folks. Damn it. What was I talking about? Bots? Bot commands, they're good, they're easy. Yeah, time. Make time before and after your stream. Give yourself time to show up, turn things on, make sure everything is working. For the longest time we would do test recordings where you just record everyone saying, hi, hello, this is me. 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 And then you're like, okay, great. Is everyone audible? Is everyone at the same level? You know, and you do it with the music playing if you're going to have music playing underneath. Is the camera synced up, or is it like you do this and then 2 seconds later you see your camera do this? If so, troubleshoot. If you've given yourself an hour, you aren't panicking. And then it's time also to do things like, oh yeah, I should update that bot command that's still talking about that game we played 5 years ago. And it's a chance for you to check in with your players, talk about what happened last game, what's going to happen next game. All of these things are ways that I brought from theater. I don't show up at curtain time. I show up 2 hours before the show most of the time, or once the show started going, an hour before. You show up before the audience, you leave after the audience. Yep, vocal warm-ups. I mean, if you're at that tier where you want to do actual vocal warm-ups, go for it. Or at the least, if you're talking for 2 hours before game, your voice is going to be warm enough that it's not going to be, hello, I just woke up. Yeah, have a bot or a Google Doc. Yeah, that's another thing. Look, you can make like 50 Google accounts and just use them spread out to have a bunch of free storage space, but for most of your needs, you aren't going to need to do that. Make a Google account for your game. Use it for your chatbot. Use it to sign up for things like Streamlabs. Use it to share. Yeah, you can also spend money and get more space, which is awesome. But use it to share documents, use it to share information with your moderators. Now we have switched to sharing our overlays so that if we each want to run an RPG clinic on our own machine, download the files, set them up on your own computer, you're done. You don't have to like email each other individually. It creates a central place for your group's like documentation. And if you start making money and you're a group of people, you don't want to lose your friends because everyone wants to squabble over the $100 you made this month. That's not fucking fun. Make yourself a spreadsheet, track when the money comes in. We're lucky. We have not had this problem, but I know that money can be a contentious issue for people. Make yourself a spreadsheet, track where the money comes in, track where the money goes out, talk before you start making money. Who's going to be the person whose name is associated to the affiliate onboarding? What are you going to use the money for? What are the priorities for the group? Every time we've been making upgrades, every time we've been wanting to make, like, tell the audience we're going to make an upgrade, we talk first. We're like, cool, what's in the bank? How much do we need? What do we want to spend it on? You've got to also be comfortable talking about money because this is a collective activity. It's not you alone playing your own video games. It is a group activity. If you're going to be making money off of it, you have to know that you can talk money with these people. And fucking write it down. Send an email. Do it in a chat. Do something that you can save. Because God forbid we ever break out and start making hundreds of thousands of dollars. We at least have established parameters that we will hopefully follow, but also if we do start making even one person being employed money, we are going to found a company because that is protecting yourselves and each other, because fuck losing friendships over money. That shit sucks. Yeah, Creative, we do like the sync collection, save collection, but you also have to send all the assets. So, yeah. Yeah, exporting scene collections is a good tool for shared people. Look, we're here because of you folks. I do not anticipate us becoming rich and famous. We are very happy to have our, 20, sometimes 30, super exciting, sometimes 50 viewers. That's fucking fine. Because, look, we'd love to have more, but it's nice to be able to read chat. It's nice to recognize every person and every username. It's nice to be more like, oh yeah, I've seen that username before, to be like, oh yeah, this is that person who, like, works in game dev, and they live in this part of the world, so I know what time zone they're in. Like, it's fucking fantastic to know your audience. It's really good, and it's valuable to you. You feel like you know the individual people rather than this distant mass, but it's also valuable for them so they can be like, hey, how's the weather over there on the west coast? Are you breathing safe? Hey, Creaty, are you breathing safe? Please take care of your lungs. I know there's only so much you can do with, but stay safe. Yay, yeah. As John said, that's part of why we switched. I mean, we never really cared, but it was just as we were moving to the next level, we're like, okay, this is gonna be seasons. We're gonna up our game on so many levels. Let's unify this. Let's make it simple and let's make it separate. Really just barely unhealthy. Yeah, it's not like purple. It's like orange or yellow. Still terrible. Stay safe, please, as much as possible. I realize, lungs, forest fires, air, yeah. Yeah, it was important to John. That's another thing, like, if something you don't, like, you're fine, whatever, but it matters to someone, do it. Do it, because these people are your friends, and that's something that you also need to factor in. Like, don't fight over what color your goddamn emotes are gonna be. If someone really desperately wants them to be purple, you kind of would prefer blue. Don't, just go purple. It's fine. Go purple. No. But yeah, also branding. Branding is actually super important because as much as it was fine to be on twitch.tv/JohnBarrel, it's definitely a better PR move to have everything under RPG Clinic. We have our podcast. Ooh, I don't know what that command is. We have our podcast, we have our Discord, we have our Twitch, we have our Twitter, we have our YouTube. Probably something else that I'm forgetting. Our website. I mean, there's also that. Your name isn't like... Yeah. Everyone tries to put an H in your name. No one knows how to spell your last name. Oh shit! Did you summon her? Excellent, Creaty. Super, super cool. Yeah, that's seriously the timing. Did she like whisper you beforehand? Get yourself moderators that can summon each other, apparently. Yeah, having a unified brand name. Like we started, we're just like Exaltwitch because it was the best thing we could come up with, and that's what we were going under until we were like, oh shit, we're gonna have a new game with a new name. How do we connect it all? And so it's with this new campaign and new season and new structure that we're all beautifully rebranded with our super amazing graphic designer. Podcast link. Anchor.fm/RPGClinic. That probably should be HTTPS. I'm old. I need to fix that link. Thank you for the reminder, but I'm going to take a note right now. That's garbage. Yes, at level 5, make sure at least one person on your team has magical powers. That would be super fucking... I mean, honestly, if you can have that at level 1, it's going to make your life a lot easier. Fix podcast on website. Noted. Take notes. Don't think you're smart enough to remember. Take notes. So yeah, anchor.fm/RPGClinic. That is our podcast, which is archives of all of our tabletop role-playing streams. We haven't been podcasting our clinics. We do have the videos all archived. We can do that, but at the moment, we're gonna wait and see because I feel like the storyline content, we've heard a lot of people talk about listening to it like a podcast, or we had a viewer who was kind enough to start uploading Changeling to a podcast, but they had life. It fell by the wayside in their priorities, so it's something that we've decided to take into our own hands. Rewatching the videos! It's amazing having a stream recorded. You can be like, what happened at the end of the last episode? Doop, 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 doop. Ah, yes, of course, we were being cornered by the bad guy, and I drew my weapon. Yeah, well, that's also another thing. Have a bunch of moderators. Make it so that they can miss a week. Make it so that, you know, different humans have different strengths and different interests. You might have one who is super amazing, or 12. Having lots is good. Generally, there's a certain situation of when you're really new and you only have 3 or 4 viewers. If every single viewer is a moderator, apparently that doesn't look good. This is a thing that I've heard. But once you have more than 3 or 4 viewers, have several moderators. Make sure that there's someone around to ditch those. Oh, become a famous streamer. Go to the spam website. Or shitheads who come in, they're like, hey girls, said Bob's. Oh, hello, welcome. Thank you for the follow. As I complain about randos who come into chat, welcome. You are not a bad rando. Thank you for the follow. This is RPG Clinic. This is a talk show that we do every week at around this time. We all have slightly different work schedules, so it'll shift by an hour one way or another. But we talk about Role-playing. I've been talking about stream tech. This is sort of my niche specialty. John takes most of them. He is our storyteller, and he's the one who started the RPGClinic format, and he's been LARPing and role-playing for like 20 years now. He's got some hot takes. But we also have Scott and Liz, who are the other two players in our games, who have also run some of our one-shots. We have a website, RPGClinic. We have all kinds of socials. We have a YouTube, where we archive these and our role-playing game. On this Sunday at 6, we are starting a new campaign of Star Wars Reach. It is set in... I feel like the book is right there, but it's not Edge of the Empire, which is similar to the Genesis system, if you're at all familiar with that. Star Wars! But we aren't going to be like Luke Skywalker. We're going to be nobodies. So that's us. That's what we're about. And yeah, we're about viewer engagement. We're about talking to people about the role-playing games. You know, is your game sick? Let me give you a prescription. Sort of. It's mostly like, yeah, Q&A, feedback, coaching, AMA. All those sick terms. Yeah. Still got some time left on the slot if people have questions, comments, concerns about streaming tabletop role-playing games. Or if you just want to start asking questions. About anything. Woo! How are y'all doing today? I'm doing good. It's like a little warmer inside than outside because we get sunlight. But it's good. Nice, good. It's sunny. Some of the haze from the forest fires had actually gotten picked up by the jet stream and made it across here. But that seems to have cleared up, so that's okay here. No, please ask the questions, Aragwen. Please do. Is a question, how awesome is Aragwen? If you had to rate her on a scale of 1 to 10, I would say 10,000. We are using OBS. OBS Studio, not Streamlabs OBS. Regular vanilla OBS Studio. I haven't tried SLOBS in a while because when it first came out it was pretty resource intensive. It'd go from like 3% CPU with regular OBS to 20% with Streamlabs. My guess is they've fixed that since. But I do use Streamlabs separately for things like our alerts for our chatbot. So like they're pretty similar, and Streamlabs OBS has a lot of integrations that's easier for people that are newer to it and that are maybe not familiar with graphic design, etc. That was a word. I mean, I showed like a little bit of updeck stuff because updeck is amazing, and health bar. Boom! Ouch! 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 Healing potion. Etc. But that's something that I could talk about. Is let's hide that. That's updeck. Use updeck. It's free. It's not super visual. Like, it's not what you see is what you get. It does require you to be willing to do a little bit of light coding using their syntax, and they spell it all out for you. But it's not like push button receive bacon. But it's awesome, and it's free, which is so good. Okay, so about the drive and about updeck is that as Erwin mentioned, I'll get to that in a second. FZZZTY. I have no idea how I would pronounce that. But what we've done, everyone was like, oh yeah, would be there. I don't even know what her initial question was, but it was kind of like, oh yeah, is there a way for me to like update the information that's on screen? And I having correctly and differently. Having just discovered Updeck was like, I have the power. So this is allowing me to change the content of a text box that exists in OBS that has custom text extents. And what I have done is I have created, these are each a separate button. You probably can't read, you definitely can't read the text, but you can see that the highlight is moving across the screen as I tap them. And so that is taking text that I've pasted into the Updeck buttons, and so it's just changing it for me, and it's a lot faster than like clicking and being like, okay, I gotta go here and show this and hide that, and okay, now I've changed this, or like typing it every time. It's much more automated, because I did, when I was working on Full Party, which was over on Beandoc's channel, I was their technical director, and I was trying to do what we're now doing, but I didn't have this tool, so it was me having made a whole bunch of separate text files and like clicking in and being like, okay, change target file to NPC folders, A to Z folder, or like A to F folder. Okay, all fates saved, click. Okay, now show. Okay, now switch scenes. Like there were so many options and like clicking, and it took so much time to do that it wasn't the kind of thing that I could just press a button and have it happen, which I can now do, which is super cool. And so all of that combined meant that we now have a shared Google Doc that Aragwen and I believe Crosshair have access to, where we have a list of the chat command, what the chatbot says when you use the chat command, the Updeck button, and what the Updeck button does. And so, unfortunately, this isn't something I can demonstrate here and now because I'm on a different computer than we stream. But yes, you can use it to, so you do have to have the content created, but you can use it to, like the health bar that I have. What this is doing is it's actually cropping the edge in. And so every time I press this button, it crops the edge by 50 pixels. That's what it's doing. But it has the ability to move things around, which is how I'm ruining the magic, I know. But on our other overlay, what happens is that our info box slides out from the side and then slides back out. That's through Updeck, and it's basically changing the X parameter to be like, you know, at 700 and then at like 1100. Things come in and out in various directions. Opacity is what I've set up for today on this. It's just shifting the opacity from 0 to 100. You can like resize things. There are a lot of tools. Yeah. We have amazing mods that are willing to use these crazy tools that I've thrown at them. Erwin now has the option to only put a chat response into text, put a chat response into text and on the screen, or only have a tooltip appear on the screen. And she's like, sure, I'll do it. Who does that? Moderators, but hopefully if you have a bunch of moderators, at least, you know, with their powers combined, you could maybe have half an Erwin. Yes, I could do that. I could make it like flip and do that if we decide that was visually interesting. Yeah, I mean, I can go through the list of tools it offers, but it might be a bit much to be interesting. But yeah, yeah, it's still copied. That's the link for Updeck. And they have a Discord to help you, because there are definitely some things that are not obvious. And I think the main developer is quasi-MIA. And there's like a second developer that's doing their best, but I don't think has the ability. We're using Streamlabs Chatbot, which is a program that you download and you run on your computer, which is why it has a custom name. If I go, nice. I don't know why this is the one command that keeps coming to mind, but that's why it's called Loom of Fate instead of Cloudbot. But it's very similar to Cloudbot. The difference is that you're allowed to, you can have a custom name for your bot, and you can load scripts that other people have made for it, which is how we've had health counters in the past where it was a number. No. So this is something that we do. There are certain tiers of streams where it's just impossible. Chat is just flying. There's kind of no reason. Or it's, it either hasn't been curated or it's gotten too big to curate. So it's just people telling you did it wrong. Not fun. So we have, since the start, configured our setup. We're lucky that for the most part we've all been in the same room. When John moved away, he was separate, but that meant that the storyteller was still, there was storyteller and players were together. During social distancing, we did a 2-and-2 setup. The law was no people at all in the same place. Now we're still in a situation where we're not within 6 feet of each other, so on 2 separate cameras. But in all of these configurations, we've found ways so that we can see chat. And we've things that we've talked about between sessions is, oh, I realized I was constantly looking at chat, or, oh man, I've never been noticing chat. So it's figuring out where to position it, what size font, zoom in on that font, because, if you don't want to have it, cropping half of your screen with a laptop, you want to put it a bit further away so that it's not in frame. You might need to increase the font size. So we've always had it that we can see chat and at least have someone able to respond to chat. Moving into Star Wars Reach, because we're going to be using a dice roller and some other online tools, we're likely all going to have our own laptop, which means that we will also all individually be able to respond as our own names, because during Changeling we had 1 laptop and 2 wireless keyboards attached to it, so that each of us could update our health levels and our willpower levels. That was using the Infinite Counters add-on. I know, physical dice are so much fun, but with the FFG's Star Wars system, Edge of the Empire, it's basically the same dice as Genesis, and there's just a bit too much, okay, I've got these give me failures, these give me successes, oh, but I also have to add one from my triumph. There's just a little bit too much time that would take, that I feel like for a stream, it would slow things down a bit too much. So that's part of why we shifted to the online format, also because it will allow us to show dice rolls without having to figure out a camera, especially while we're socially distanced, so we can't just have a central, dice roller. Sorry about that. We do. I mean, we will definitely right-click and look at the picture. Yeah, there are Discord dice rollers. There's Roll20 for a lot of systems. We're looking at RPG sessions at the moment for, they do Genesis and the FFG Star Wars, which just pushed a new update, so we shall see. But it's also hopefully going to be a way for us to share our dice rolls with people rather than just being like, oh, I got 3 successes. So I think that'll be another way for us to up our game. Yeah. Thank you for everything, Erwin, for being the best mod anyone could ask for. Crosshair, you're fucking awesome too. But I think you will accept that Erwin is superhuman. Because she's an owl! So that's basically it. Any last minute questions, you can throw them over on our Discord. There's a link below here, there's a link in the doobly-doo on YouTube, and it's in chat for those who are live now. We're super excited to keep talking RPGs. We have a Crunch channel if you really want to talk about Crunch. We have individual channels for our different games, spoilers channels so that you aren't spoiled if you aren't caught up. It's a good group of people, as you perhaps see by the existing chat. Going on this week, the rest of our group, tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Liz will be over on her channel with Punchy. We have a schedule. There we go. Nope, I don't know what it's called. Okay, she's going to be playing Punchy 6 p.m. She's finishing Horizon Zero Dawn over on twitch.tv/Elizabeth A. Neal. On Saturday, there will be a Drew crew at 4 p.m., which is reading Nancy Drew. And on Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, this very channel is episode 1 of season 1 of Star Wars Reach. We're in for a super cool time, and you will see all of the tech that I've been talking about today. Boom! Thank you for the bid slow. Thank you for having a long name so that I can see that I need to slightly adjust the font size and shape for that alert. Much appreciated. Much love. You all are super fantastic. We would not be doing this if you weren't this great. Seriously, we are here. We have upped our level. We have upped our game. Thanks to you, our viewers, our supporters, for being here, for cheering us on, for talking to us. Because God, streaming to no one is not fun. So take care of yourselves. Stay safe. Be well. And up. To the right.